What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more NBA news to of course be talking about with you guys. Very recently I actually just made a video where I talked about the San Antonio Spurs being interested in Cedi Osman. I'm pretty sure that video will be out before this one, but nevertheless we've actually got a very similar topic to kind of talk about. This time, where they're not actually being the Spurs, but the Dallas Mavericks being extremely interested in Cedi Osman. And this is all being reported by Tyler Watts. And I think this is actually a really, really good move by the Dallas Mavericks. I was pretty vocal on why I thought it was a bad move for the San Antonio Spurs. So if you haven't already, and you're just an NBA fan or whatever, maybe go and check that video out either before watching this one, or you can watch it after this one. I really don't mind. I'd just be really supportive if you guys did go and check it out. But again, nevertheless, I do talk about Osman, and I just don't think the Spurs really make sense. I think that they've already got a similar player in Dougie McDermott who will often run around screens and, shoot a three or something like that. Not necessarily a catch and shoot dude in the corner. Cedi Osman is more of a dude that will be on the move 24/7, running around screens, pick and popping to get to the basket, or a fake pick and pop to actually go to the 3-point line and shoot a nice three. That's the type of guy Cedi Osman is. He will run for you the whole game, running around multiple screens. And again, it is a very interesting situation he's got over there. He is having a superb season. I mean, he's averaging 11 points per game on 36% from three. And like I talked about in the last video, that is in 22.5 minutes per game. And when you think about it like this, Cedi Osman is like the bailout dude for the Cavs. Like, if there's 2 seconds left on the shot clock, they'll give it to Osman and he'll chuck up a three. And this happens a lot during games. So realistically, I think if you were to subtract all of those bailout threes and half-court threes he'll hit when there's only like 1 second left on the clock, Cedi Osman's probably shooting about 38% realistically this season. As I said though, he doesn't match the San Antonio Spurs, but I do think he would actually be a really, really good fit for the Dallas Mavericks, and better than a lot of players that they have right now. When we look at the Dallas Mavericks, they're still looking for floor spaces to put alongside players like Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, and I think there's a pretty interesting trade that could go down. Now, again, when we look at the Cavaliers, and I said this in the last video, there is really not many good free agents, in free agency next year. In fact, free agency, I think, is going to be one of the worst free agents that we have seen in a long time. The Stars are not going to be that good in free agency next year. Or this season, rather. One of the only players I can think of is James Harden. I think Bradley Beal might be in there, and Zach LaVine maybe too, but Zach LaVine's automatically signing that max contract. And then you've got the role players. The role players aren't even that great either. A lot of role players have re-signed with their teams or already signed with a team in the last 2 free agencies to like 3 to 4 year deals. So again, to say that this free agency is probably going to be one of the worst in NBA in a long time is an understatement. It is really not, because I think it probably will be. The other thing as well is teams know this right now. So because the value of players is going to be increasing so much now, because so many players are contracted and there's really no good players in free agency, teams are taking advantage of this, with even the Indiana Pacers confirming that they would only be accepting a solid role player and 2 first-round picks out of Caris LeVert. And as I said, that's just because there aren't too many good players in free agency, and to get a solid player now, you're going to have to trade for him and give up some first-round picks. So again, 2 first-round picks and a really solid player. And these are 2 good first-round picks, by the way, like top 15 picks. For a dude like Caris LeVert, who can sometimes be pretty inconsistent, has been pretty injury-prone, and only scores 16 points per game. Pretty good defense, but again, dude, it's a lot to give up for a dude like that. I can't imagine what a solid role player like Cedi Osman would be, because, again, there aren't many solid role players in this upcoming free agency. A lot of them have been extended, and a lot of them will re-sign. Which, again, he will be a player that you're going to have to overpay for as well if you want, because the Cavaliers are contending, and they're not going to be wanting to lose a player like Cedi Osman. So again, maybe last year for Cedi Osman, it would have been a salary matcher and a couple second round picks. But not this year. Not this year at all. This year, it would have to be a salary matcher and a late first round pick, which the Dallas Mavericks have, and I think would be willing to do. Now, I'm not saying the Cavaliers would do this. In fact, I think if the Dallas Mavericks offer the deal I'm going to propose right now, the Cavaliers would decline it. But if the Dallas Mavericks do want to get Cedi Osman, they just can't be giving up a bum like Dwight Powell and a couple second round picks. It's got to be a little better than that. A player I would suggest is actually Reggie Bullock, who is played 24 minutes per game this year, 7 points, 3 rebounds, pretty good perimeter defense still on 34% from 3. Nowhere near what he did last season on 11 points per game and 41% from 3, but again, still not bad stats. The issue is, I don't know if the Cavaliers would want a guy like this just based on the fact that he doesn't really match. Well, he matches their system perfectly. Great three-point shooter when he's on. Great perimeter guy. But I still think the Cavaliers need some height, and they're not going to want to trade a 6'7" guy for a 6'3" guy or a 6'5" guy, whatever Reggie Bullock is, 6'5". They're going to want to do that 6'7" that can at least somewhat guard the power forward position, which Reggie Bullock just can't. Which would bring up the question, would it be then, Dorian Finney-Smith? Osman is averaging better stats than what Finney-Smith is on less minutes, way less minutes I might add, but his defense isn't as good. And in my opinion, as a non-biased fan, I think Dorian Finney-Smith is actually a better player than what Cedi Osman is. Cedi Osman averages a lot more points, way better when it comes to per 36 stats, but I feel like Finney-Smith's perimeter defense is extremely underrated, and the ability to switch on 3 from 4, Cedi Osman just cannot simply do. So how does this get done then? How does the Dallas Mavericks get this done? I don't think they do. Unless the Cavaliers say, well, we desperately need a shot creator. What if we give up Cedi Osman and I don't even know, maybe a protected first round pick and another salary matcher to get a Tim Hardaway? Could that work? Because Tim Hardaway hasn't been that great for Mavericks this season. 14 a game on 30 minutes per game, and he's only started half now. The Cavs could look at that, but there are better shot creators that they could get for maybe a similar price. Plus, they don't want to get rid of Osman. It's a difficult thing. So again, I think if the Mavericks wanted Osman really badly, it'd have to be Bullock. Their pick this year, which would be I think 23, and then maybe a second round pick, and that would probably get the deal done. And anyone who wants to comment, Cedi Osman is not, he's not worth pick 23. Can you, answer this question for me? How many players have been taken at, pick 23 and above recently that have been better than Cedi Osman right now? There aren't too many at all. Taking a player at 23 are usually development players that you need to develop for a couple of years, which the Cavaliers probably don't need to do, especially right now when they are contending and would like to, they would rather keep a player like Cedi Osman. Of course, having a pick 23 would be nice, but Osman makes more sense to keep. So I don't think a trade like this gets done. Although I do think Cedi Osman is a pretty good match for the Dallas Mavericks. After all, they do need another catch-and-shoot guy, I think, for this team. And also, they don't really have that type of three-point shooter that really wraps around screens like Osman does. Again, I think Tim Hardaway is that player, but he is a shot creator, and he is not a catch-and-shoot dude. So again, he will wrap around screens like Osman, but Osman would be a way more efficient type of player. Maxi Kleber maybe, but I think Maxi Kleber works better on the catch-and-shoot, and he really doesn't wrap around screens too much. He's more or so giving the screens, if you know what I mean. So, again, it doesn't really work out. I don't think this trade gets done. If Dallas find a way, you'd probably have to overpay, and I don't think Mavericks fans want to do that. I don't think they're ready, and I don't think it makes much amount of sense at all. But, of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to comment your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you guys think that they should potentially explore a trade for Cedi Osman? Should the Cavaliers maybe trade him? What do you guys think about the Dallas Mavericks doing this and that? What would be a suitable trade for Cedi Osman? Again, I would definitely very much like to know your thoughts and opinions on this down below. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel, my IRL/vlogging channel, and my podcast as well if you haven't already. Again, they will all be linked in the description down below. But as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.